if I want to enjoy the money that I work hard for, but I still want to make sure I leave something to my family if something happened to me, even way down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bro, I could spend my wealth and replenish it with this IUL.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Like it literally takes care of that for you, which is super cool.
Absolutely.
Andrew Taylor here. We have a special guest, Devon Martin, with us today with National Life Group. What up, man?
It's good to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we got to tell you why specifically we asked you to come in. One, agents are loving National Life Group. We'll get into all the different reasons why. They're loving IULs. But I recently did a IUL on myself, and I asked a million questions. And then Zach Twardowski was like, bro, you would be the worst client. And I was like, who would be the best person to talk about IULs than the worst client that went down every single non-guarantee scenario and this scenario and that scenario. And I came out liking IULs way more than I ever did. So it was a really good exercise for me.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. To start with, if you can introduce yourself, how long you've been with National Life Group, and then we'll get into kind of the company's history.
Yeah, so I've been at the company for almost 10 years now, and I started out in Vermont. That's why I got this nice tan. But I moved to Dallas, Texas about 6 years ago. Been in numerous different departments, landed in the industry, and the company's taken good care of me, and it's been great so far.
And you understand running illustrations. You understand the way these products work.
I do. I had the blessing of doing nothing but designing illustrations for a straight year, and then I went into the sales field after that. So I know it pretty well.
Nice. So later on, if you're watching this, we're going to do, because I want to do one for my kids.
Yep.
And I figured, why not have the expert here to design this? So we're going to do that We're going to design these live today.
I'm ready.
And I'm passionate on doing it for kids because of what it can do with that, 30, 40 years with a low cost of insurance in the very beginning.
Yep, and I like to say you buy life insurance with your health, not your money. So why not get it while you can when you're a kid?
100%. But to start, we were talking about how long National Life Group's been around. Mm-hmm. How many years is it?
So Disney was 100 years last year. We celebrated 175 years of history last year.
Okay, so what has happened? What has happened in the last? Because I can think of like World War I, World War II, the Titanic.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was telling me that did you guys insure anyone on the Titanic?
We paid out claims because of the Titanic. Yeah.
Okay, so this is crazy. I don't know if you've watched the Titanic recently.
Not recently, but I've seen it.
But on my last birthday, my wife and I went on like a little vacation. We were in the hotel room. I turned on the Titanic. I barely ever cry in movies. And, dude, it made me cry at the end of the movie. I was like, what the heck is going on? That movie's wild. But you guys actually had people with policies on the Titanic.
100%.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but let's talk about some other things. So World War I, World War II, the Spanish flu,
mm-hmm.
COVID. Mm-hmm. What else? What crazy things has the company been through?
Think of all the events. You named the big ones, but here's the thing. When COVID happened, we went from a physical company on a Friday to virtual on Monday. We didn't just survive, we thrived. We put our foot on the gas pedal while other carriers, we couldn't offer after age 75. We couldn't assess the mortality for substandard risk. That Spanish flu wasn't new to us, just like COVID wasn't. So we had record-breaking years, record-breaking sales, and it's because of the history of our company. And one thing we like to pride ourselves on is we're 100% mutual. So every quarter, every year, we're not meeting with people to try to increase our stock or pay our VPs more. The policyholders are the owners of our company as 100% mutual.
Dude, so all these different things, the company's been stable, healthy, paying claims. Have they ever missed a death claim?
As long as we have everything we need to pay the claim, we wouldn't miss a claim. And we paid out almost $100 million in living benefits alone last year.
You're saying like if somebody got a policy and they didn't meet the criteria of what they said on the application, then you would deny a claim.
Correct. There's always a 2-year contestability period, right? But yeah, as long as nobody lied to us, we pay our claims.
So I want to talk about this because I think this is big. So a lot of new agents might not know this, but in the first 2 years, a carrier can contest a policy, which means they wouldn't pay it if you didn't disclose information or answered questions incorrectly on the application.
Correct.
And that's why the underwriting is so important, which we're going to talk about underwriting today.
Yes.
Because, like, dude, you don't want to be the dude that writes an app, you answer the wrong question, and then you don't deliver the death check that the family thinks they're going to get.
Correct. And buyers are liars, right? Like agents are really going to do what their clients tell them. But that's why it's important to take your time on those apps, because paying out claims is why we do what we do.
Yeah, and dig. Crazy, though. I'm just looking at this timeline of all these different things that have happened in the last 175 years.
Game changing.
Yeah. So if a customer said, hey, is the company going to be around? Then I can go, well, they've been through all these different things.
We understand that yesterday's home runs don't win today's ball games. We're constantly innovating. What's made us successful for the past 175 years won't make us successful for the next 5 years. So we're always coming up with new things, A-rated, constantly getting better, and even a Ferrari needs a tune-up, and we understand that.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so before we get into the policy that I got, because I want to share why I got it and kind of what my concerns were, what I liked, what I didn't like, I want to talk about why, if you're in the insurance industry, this is a good thing to look at. For one, you guys have a few different products. You have instant approval up to $2 million. And it's not instant approval, but 45% of the time it is.
Correct. 45% of our cases instantly approve. And those that don't, doesn't mean blood or urine. The underwriter just needs to look at it. But instant approval means it never even touches an underwriter.
But the rates are incredible, right?
You could get preferred or preferred plus if you qualify, even off of an instant approval.
On $2 million.
Up to $2 million. Depends on the age, but up to $2 million.
Okay. And then there's an agent named Juan Franco who he got me to really start thinking, because I was in the field for 10 years and I went and I saw, we did the math, like 10,000 people face to face.
Yep.
Okay. And I didn't really do a lot of IULs. And I did a couple. I did them here and there. I got into annuities a little bit. But it was because I would look at the guaranteed, now that I understand how to structure them properly, but it was because I would look at the guarantee values and go, is this customer going to call me later?
Yeah.
And are they going to be mad at me? Right?
Right.
So I did that, but Juan Franco, he started doing social media marketing, which is free. So his TikToks, and how old is he? 60?
I'm going to give him a compliment and say he looks 25, but I think he's mid-50s.
Mid-50s?
Yeah.
Okay. So his TikTok's out of control, and he's sharing the way IULs work, getting leads, and issuing a ridiculous amount of business. But the thing is the premiums are higher. So if I were to go see 30 people in a week, he could do the same thing with 2 or 3 customers.
Easily. And I use the analogy, I would rather have 80% of a watermelon instead of 100% of a grape. And Juan understands that. He does less business, could still make more.
But I'm not against doing all of it.
For sure.
I just want to add this in as a tool.
For sure.
I want to help every different category. Final expense, term, but adding IUL.
There's a need for all of it. You never want to take away from what's making you successful, but why not add on?
Yeah. Also, there's different leads now that we have in the Integrity Lead Center, which are designed to someone's answering or responding to an ad that's talking about IULs, and people are having a lot of success with them, but they have to put in why they want it, like what interests them, and it'll be like protecting my estate or whatever it is, and people are calling them, and they have this sentence of why they want it.
Good.
And it's been huge.
Good.
All right. We talked a little bit about this. So and let's get into my personal plan, and we'll talk about I'm going to tell you guys what I liked, and we'll talk about some of the things that I was concerned about. Okay.
All right.
One thing is I realized as I'm trying to, make sure my family's taken care of if something happens to me, I realized that this is a good tool for that. And it could be because you had mentioned in some states it's protected from bankruptcy, litigation,
divorce.
So it's kind of like a 401k, which is protected in specific situations like that, right?
Yep, you can never legally compare the IUL to a 401k, but there are advantages to the IUL. Without
For sure,
question.
100%. So there are some protective benefits to the IUL,
Absolutely.
which I thought was pretty cool. But the main thing was I was like, are stocks good? Of course, I'm going to buy stocks.
Mhm.
Is real estate good? Of course, I'm going to buy real estate.
Right.
But this is another tool that I could use, and why wouldn't I set one of these up in addition to all those things?
Correct.
And I think what bugs me is when people go, this is the end all be all of the best thing on the planet, and you definitely should have that. Like, and this is all you need.
Yeah, you never want to just have one thing. Otherwise, there would just be one thing out there. So, of course, you don't want to oversell it, but you get your money in one of three ways at retirement: taxable, tax-deferred, and tax-free. The IUL is one of very few instruments that allow you to have tax-free money, which is a game changer.
Yeah, so tax-free money. So for estate planning, it's huge. And anybody that has a big estate, I mean, if you're going to be paying estate tax on your estate, this is a tool to offset that.
Absolutely. Life insurance is perfect for that.
And you guys probably have some big customers that do that, right?
We do. We even have an advanced sales team of licensed attorneys free for you guys to access that work through that day in and day out.
Yeah, so I think that was huge. The other thing I was thinking, though, and these are just some of my thoughts after I got through and decided, hey, I like IUL.
Mhm.
You have the life insurance.
Mhm.
Don't forget about the life insurance.
Mhm.
You have the cash value.
Yep.
When I ran my illustration, and we're going to run some today, in year 15, the guarantee value was almost the same amount that I put in.
Okay.
So I'm like, it's kind of like having another bank account, because the worst case scenario is in year 15, I basically have what I put into it. And that the worst case scenario is not likely to happen.
Correct.
I just like to plan for the worst and go, okay, this thing can actually do way better.
And just to take that a step further, worst case scenario is when you die. So if you pay a month's worth of premium, we're paying out you a big death benefit that's way more than the monthly premium you paid.
Yeah, 100%. Now, the other thing is I don't like payments for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't want a 60-year payment, right?
Correct.
So we designed this thing where it was a 7-year pay. So you pay on it for 7 years. And really all I was doing was transferring money from Morgan Stanley to this, because to me, I look at it as the cash value is accessible if you have to, kind of like a bank account.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Correct.
You have the coverage. You shouldn't have to touch it, but worst case scenario, if you did, you could access some of it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So I'm like, why don't I have... This is basically what I came to the conclusion of. Why don't I have, instead of money sitting in a bank that I'm saving anyways, why don't I save it here, get the big death benefit, the protection, the living benefits, and just transfer over some money for 7 years?
It's a no-brainer. And the money that you borrow out of the policy still participates in earned interest inside of the policy too, which is huge.
So you obviously you have interest that you have to pay it back, but it's also still earning interest.
Correct.
Okay. The other thing that I thought was cool is, okay, now I don't know how everybody thinks, but I think a lot of people, they'd like to make sure their family's taken care of if something happens to them, right?
Yep.
And there's a lot of, I like term insurance. I'm a fan of term insurance, but it will expire at some point.
Less than 1% of term policies actually end up paying out the death benefit.
Which is a good sign. That means there's not a high chance of something crazy happening to you.
Correct.
That's actually comforting.
And you can convert your term too, which is even better.
Yeah. But so I'm like, okay, if I want to enjoy the money that I work hard for, but I still want to make sure I leave something to my family if something happened to me, even way down the road.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, bro, I could spend my wealth and replenish it with this IUL.
Sign me up.
Yeah. It literally takes care of that for you, which is super cool.
Absolutely.
Let's see. So we got the 7-pay. Now when I'm recruiting, I'm recruiting people that, one, like IULs. Sometimes they're customers.
Very common recruiting practice.
Yeah, sometimes they're customers, but also just like people that I'm like, okay, you're already doing well. You could do a couple of these a month, and what could this do for you? And look how cool the product is.
It can change your life. You guys have so many agents that have such success in a short amount of time frame. It's your leads, it's your training, it's everything.
Yeah. Okay. So other than that, I mean, after that, I was like, dude, I'm just moving money from one bucket to another. And how many people don't know they can do that? And how many people save money? Now, I'm also going to talk to a customer and go, if you save money, this is a good tool to do, like a 7Pay.
Yep.
But if you don't, it's a good tool to do because this should be one of the tools you use to plan for the future.
Correct. And as you said, one of the tools, not the tool, but one of the tools.
One of the tools, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.